Well, happening today, author and CEO of the U.S. Humane Society is actually a New Haven native who has just released a brand new book, and you can meet him today in New Haven. Joining us this morning is Humane Society CEO and President Wayne Pacelle, here to talk about his new book. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be in my hometown.
Well, it's a privilege to have you here on Good Morning Connecticut. I know your first book was a New York Times bestseller, and I know you're hoping for this one. What is this one all about?
Well, it's about animals, of course. As president of the Humane Society of the United States, I'm really passionate about stopping animal cruelty and having humans behave properly toward all animals. And that goes for not just our pets, but for wildlife, farm animals, all creatures in the world. So this book is really about how the value of animal protection is really kind of taking hold throughout our society. And so many consumers are more alert. You know, we knew about the Michael Vick dogfighting case. We've heard of puppy mills. We've heard about food issues and these factory farms. And what's happening in our culture is so many of the biggest brands, some of the biggest companies that have animals built into their business models are starting to rethink their practices and make announcements. So, for instance, just in the last month, SeaWorld, the big theme park, said it's going to stop breeding its orcas because of concern about how they're treated. Armani, the fashion company, says it's not going to do any fur anymore in any of its lines. And Walmart, which unbelievably enough sells 25% of all groceries in the U.S.,
wow,
says it's not going to buy eggs from operations that confine the hens in farms where they can't move, so they're so crowded.
So this must be a reaction to what the consumer is demanding. What can we do as consumers to be more mindful of all of this if people want to continue to make an impact like this?
Well, my book is called The Humane Economy, and in the back of it, I actually have 10 things that people can do to help animals. And the number one thing is to vote with your dollars. I mean, the food choices that we make have enormous consequences for animals. I mean, it's a difficult reality to confront, but there are 9 billion animals raised for food every year in the U.S., 77 billion globally. So, I mean, just reducing your meat consumption a little bit will save animals directly, but then sourcing animal products from more humane operations, so cage-free eggs or, organic milk, or farms that are more humanely raising the animals, giving them access to pasture, but buying cruelty-free cosmetics, shunning fur. When you adopt a dog or a cat, go to a shelter or a rescue group. Do not go to a pet store to get a puppy mill dog. So I articulate these things in the back of the book, but influencing your elected officials and spreading the word, joining a group like the Humane Society of the United States. You can go to humanesociety.org, get involved, you get in the information flow so you can be part of a larger effort to help animals.
That's wonderful, and I know that this book was just released on Tuesday. What kind of reaction have you been getting so far?
Well, it's great. Big crowds. I had an in-conversation event with Cory Booker, the U.S. Senator from New Jersey and Washington, and had an event with Mark Bittman in New York this week, and got Michael Pollan in Boston. But I'm excited to go around my home state of Connecticut. We've got events in New Canaan, in New Haven, and then in Madison at R.J. Julia's, a great independent bookstore, and then up to West Hartford. So, I think people love animals. There's a difference, though, between kind of what we think is happening and what really happens. We at the Humane Society kind of unwind what's going on in the world and go to these puppy mills and raid them, and we raid dog fights. We go to the factory farms. We really see that our relationship with animals is contradictory. We love animals, but there's also a lot of abuse, and we're trying to deal with the abuse.
And do you talk about that in the book as well?
Absolutely, in great detail.
Wow, interesting. So these are the events if you want to go see Mr. Pacelle. He is going to be at the Yale bookstore today in New Haven, and it is a free event, and of course you can meet him and you will sign the books. And then tomorrow in Madison, he'll be at R.J. Julia's. Everyone loves that place. And of course, 3 in the afternoon at Barnes & Noble in West Hartford. So thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure.
Yeah,
Very interesting. And I know your first book was a New York Times bestseller, so I'm hoping your second one will be as well.
Well, folks can see details on all those events at humaneeconomy.org.
Great. And it'll be on our website, too.
Oh, great.
WTNH.com. Just go to that On Air tab, pull it down to the Good Morning Connecticut Weekend section.